The top 10 longest prison sentences. 10. Bobby Joe Long, 28 life sentences plus 4 99-year sentences and a death sentence. Long murdered 25 women in the 80s and raped over 50 more, which led to a sentence of 825 years. He would answer classified ads for small appliances, and if he found a woman home alone, he would rape her. 9. Billy Joe Godfrey, 35 consecutive life sentences. Billy Joe Godfrey, 52, was charged with 35 counts of statutory sodomy in the first degree, garnering 35 consecutive life sentences, which is the equivalent of 1,050 years in prison. Godfrey pled guilty to sexually abusing 2 children between 1995 and 1999. 8. James Egan Holmes, 12 life sentences plus 3,318 years. Holmes was convicted of killing 12 people and injuring 70 in a Colorado movie theater in 2012. He was sentenced to 12 life sentences plus 3,318 years. 7. Martin Bryant, 35 life sentences plus 1,035 years without parole. Martin John Bryant is an Australian mass murderer who pleaded guilty to murdering 35 people and injuring 23 others in the Port Arthur massacre, a shooting spree in Port Arthur, Tasmania, Australia, on 28th of April 1996. 6. Dudley Wayne Kaiser, 10,000 years. Kaiser murdered his estranged wife, mother-in-law, and a college student who was unfortunate enough to be at the house at the time on Halloween 1976. He was sentenced to 2 life terms plus 100 centuries, which ends up being an incredible 10,000 years. 5. Darren Bennell Ford Anderson, 11,250 years. After being convicted of the robbery, kidnap, and rape of an elderly woman in 1993, Anderson appealed, perhaps hoping to have a century or two knocked off his original 2,200-year sentence. It went well for him at first. He won a new trial. That, however, also ended in conviction, and this time the jury decided his sentence should be 11,250 years, thus extending his jail term by 9,050 years. 4. Alan Wayne McLaurin, 21,250 years. It appears that McLaurin won't be getting out anytime soon. He was sentenced to 2,000 years on each of his 4 counts of rape, the same sentence on 4 counts of forced sodomy, 1,750 years for kidnapping, 1,500 years for assault with a deadly weapon, and 500 years on 2 counts of robbery and separate singular counts of robbery and larceny, which brings us to an incredible sentence of 21,250 years. Though his original sentence of 21,250 years was reduced by 500 years on appeal. 3. Charles Scott Robinson, 30,000 years. In 1994, Robinson received a 30,000-year prison sentence for raping 6 children, 5,000 years for each child. The judge involved wanted to put Robinson away for good, so he recommended a sentence so long that humanity may not even be around by the time his sentence is up. 2. The 2004 Madrid bombers, 3 men, between 34,715 and 42,924 years. Back in 2004, 191 people were killed and nearly 2,000 people were seriously injured when a small terrorist group inspired by Al-Qaeda detonated explosive devices in Madrid's train system. Otman El Ghanoui, Jamal Zougam, and Emilio Suarez Trasoras are now holders of some of the biggest sentences ever given out, only preceding one other. 1. Chamoy Tipiasso, 141,078 years. The longest prison sentence handed down by a court is thought to be that received by Chamoy Tipiasso of Thailand, who in 1989 was given a jail term of 141,078 years. The wife of a senior Thai Air Force officer, Tipiasso had been involved in a pyramid scheme that defrauded 16,231 people out of a total of about £2 million. Given that some of her victims had allegedly been members of the Thai royal household, she probably wasn't expecting leniency.
Thanks for watching and hope you enjoyed. Check out one of